am I ready to dive into tonight? Um, it's just going to be good. It's good to be back this week. Oh my lord, it's good to be back. I missed y'all last week. All right. Tonight we are diving into a story in Revelations 12. And so obviously it's Revelations. It's talking about a story towards the end time. And this one's a little weird. It's it's way different. It's kind of out there. But there's a story in Revelation 12 of a dragon and a woman. And the dragon is Satan. Oh, sorry. Let me back up. All right. I didn't even give you the title. See, I'm too excited to dive into it tonight. Power of testimony. I want you guys to understand how strong, how powerful your testimony is, how powerful testimonies as a whole are. Because we'll see later in the story that it's a weapon, that your testimony is a actual spiritual weapon that will defeat Satan. And that's where we jump into this story, all right? So, a dragon, which is actually Satan, he's just characterized as a dragon in this story, is after a woman who's about to give birth to her child, right? And it describes him as this big dragon that has several heads, lots of crowns, lots of teeth, just makes Satan seem as vicious as possible, all right? And he is sitting there waiting for her to give birth to this child so that he can destroy him, kill him, eat him. And he's just sitting there waiting. So you can imagine being in the woman's position that you're going what's supposed to be a beautiful thing of delivering your child, and there's a literal dragon sitting there waiting to eat your kid once you birth him out. Well, so the woman starts to pray, and God calls her son up to heaven and protects him. So as soon as he's birthed, God calls him to heaven and says, nope, protecting him. Puts him in heaven by his side to protect her child. And then God went even further and prepared a spot in the nearby wilderness for the mom to flee to. So after she gives birth to her child gets called up to heaven, protected by God. God sends her out to flee into the wilderness and has a spot prepared for her to protect her from the dragon and Satan. So then the dragon's mad, right? Satan's mad. He's pissed off. Everything he was trying to do fell apart. God kept it away from him. So now the dragon's persecuting the woman. He's going to take his revenge out on the lady, on the woman who gave birth to her child. And he starts to go and run after her. Well, God protects her again by giving her what is said as the wings of an eagle. Sorry, not angel, eagle. The word says eagle. The dragon goes after her. God protects her again, steps in, gives her wings so she can fly from the dragon, fly from Satan. Well, then dragon gets even more mad, right? He begins a flood. He's like, if I can't get to you, if I can't actually get to you, I'm going to flood you. I'm going to drown you. And God steps in again and protects her and opens the earth that swallows the flood. Are you catching on with what I'm saying? Like this story, like what it represents. Like no matter how Satan is coming after you, no matter how that dragon is coming after you, even if he can't get to you and he tries to flood your world with negativity, flood your life, your community with drugs, with alcohol, with bad thoughts, with depression, with anxiety, he can't even get to you, but he's trying to flood you. God is still going to step in and protect you. He's still going to open the earth and swallow the flood. So then after all this happens, the dragon and Satan go to war with Michael, the archangel, and the rest of the angels. And it becomes this big spiritual battle that we all know that Revelations is all about. And they're just battling it out. It's a big spiritual warfare between Satan and the dragon is Satan. The dragon, Michael, and the rest of the angels. And what I want you to catch tonight is how the word says they win. All right, I want you to hear this. Revelation 12:11 says, "They triumphed over him, Satan, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Notice it doesn't say Michael and the angels and earth prevailed with a sword, with a weapon, with their grit, with their courage, with their bravery. No, it says by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Your testimony is the weapon that will put Satan down. Your testimony is what will send your enemies fleeing. Do you ever in your day see a moment come up where the Spirit just convicts you and you feel a moment where you can share your story with somebody? Like, whether it's the way that person worded something, it pulled a heartstring, and you were like, I can relate to that with my story. And then all of a sudden you feel like you've got to protect that. Like, that's yours. That's what the voice inside your head tells you. That's your story. That's no one else's. Don't share that with them. That's yours. That's between you and God. No, it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be told. Why? Because it's a weapon to make the enemy flee, to put the enemy in the ground. That little voice inside your head telling you to keep that to yourself, that's a personal thing, that's not God. That's not the Spirit. That's Satan himself, because he knows that's the very thing that's going to end him. That's going to be his downfall, not yours. The definition of the word testimony. The word testimony by itself, it literally translates to repeat, to reoccur, and to redo. We're speaking about Revelations here, the end of the Bible. The story is in Revelations, the end. Which means that these testimonies have been repeated, reoccurred, redone all through time. Your testimony is not meant to be kept to yourself. It's meant to be told. It's meant to be repeated. It's meant to reoccur. It's meant to redo. It's not just for you. It's for everyone. It's for your family. It's for your community. It's for your city. It's for your state. It's for your nation. It's for your world. Here the enemy is making you think that there's nothing you can do, that you're this small in this world, that you're just a speck. You can't do nothing against big bad Satan. Your testimony is the very weapon that will send him into the ground fleeing. You want to watch your life change? Start telling your testimony. You want to see your environment change? Start telling your testimony. You might have people leave your life. A lot of people won't want to hear it. But watch how much your life changes for the better. Watch how many good people walk into your life. Watch how many bad people in your life turn a page. Turn good. Watch how many people in your life you thought you couldn't relate to in any kind of way, but once you had the courage to tell your testimony, you found out y'all have a lot in common. There are so many people in your life that you might not like at all. You think they're nothing like me. We're nothing alike. I thought the same thing. I really did. There was a lot of people in my life I did not like, that I didn't think we had anything similar with each other. All of a sudden I start telling my testimony and about half of our lives match up. We've gone through the same things. We've both dealt with depression. We've both lost a parent. Start telling your testimony. Watch how many lives change. Watch how quickly your community changes. There's 2 points I want to make to you guys tonight. 2 key points. And I wrote them down here if you want to read them. Number 1. We can use another person's testimony in our prayers. It is okay to pray for someone else's testimony to happen to you. It's not this personal thing that everyone needs to keep to themselves because it's one-on-one, one person between God. No, your testimony is meant to be shared. It's meant to reoccur. It's meant to repeat. It's meant to be redone. Pray for someone else's testimony to happen to you. Because think about this. This is something that slips your mind every single day, or every single time you talk about Christ and you're being a good Christian and you bring up the word. Every time you bring up Jesus Christ's name, guess what you're doing? You're using his testimony. You're praying for his testimony to happen to you, to happen to others. Jesus Christ is the greatest testimony to ever occur. And you're using it every day. Whether you know it or not, every breath you take, you're using Jesus' testimony. Pray for yours to be used. Pray for others to be used on you. It's not meant to be kept alone to yourself, to themselves. It's meant to be shared. Number 2, last point for tonight, just 2 points. We can use our personal testimony in our prayer. You can use your testimony in prayer. I want to ask you a question. Have you ever once prayed to God for your testimony, your exact testimony, to happen to someone else? Have you ever prayed for your story to be someone else's story? Have you ever prayed and given God permission to do that? Can I open you up right now? Have you ever granted God the permission to use your story on someone else? To save someone else? To bring someone else out of the situation that you've been in yourself? Me personally, when I lost my mother figure and I dove into addiction and alcoholism and drug abuse and was showing up to college baseball practices drunk every day, showing up to class drunk every day, I felt like I was the only person in the world that was going through that could say that was doing that. That is the lie of the enemy. And there's nothing wrong with not being the only person going through that. There's so many people in your exact same story, exact same position. I thought I was the only one. There are so many other college baseball players who lost a parent, or were alcoholics, went through drug addiction, were showing up to practice drunk, was showing up to class drunk. How do I know this? Because once I started sharing my testimony, those people started showing themselves. You can use your own personal testimony in your prayers for people out there. Grant God the permission to repeat, to reoccur, to redo your testimony. Let it be redone. Let it be repeated. Let it go on and on and on again for the rest of time. Why? Because we will triumph because of the word of our testimony. Your testimony is the most powerful thing you have, that you will ever have. Let it be told. Let it be shared. Pray for it to happen again. There's so many people out there that need your testimony. Not just to hear it, but to live it. Pray for them to live it. Pray for God to use it again. Don't let it stop with just you. I love you guys. Love y'all so much. I told y'all I was fired up for tonight because we missed last week, took a week off, and God, I got filled into. I got so much to speak about. Like, I'm already hyped up for next week thinking about what we're talking about. I love you guys. I hope this helped somebody out there. Just remember, your testimony is powerful. It's a weapon. Don't ever doubt it. Share it. Don't be scared of it. Share it. Watch how quickly things change. God, I love you guys so much. Man, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I pray to God right now that you start using your testimony to reach people, to reach out. God, I pray right now that there's somebody out there who's been scared, who's feels ashamed because they ran from the opportunity, whoever it may be, God, that when that opportunity comes back, they tell their testimony with no fear, God. They remember the love. They remember what it felt like that day that you saved them. They remember that feeling that they had, that overwhelming amount of joy and love. No matter how much hate or how much hurt was in their hearts, that it just instantly vanished, God. That they remember that moment and they share that with everybody. That they hold nothing back, God. That they go on and share their story for the world to hear. Not just for themselves, God, but for others out there who need it. So that one day, when Revelations comes true, and one day Michael and the angels are battling Satan and the dragon, that it is the word of their testimonies that allows them to triumph in victory, God. In your name I pray. Amen and amen. I love you so much if you tuned in tonight. Thank you so much. There's so much more coming. If you haven't already, please go subscribe. Do everything you can to support us. As always, merch is in the link, and that is the best, fastest, and quickest way to support my content. And thank you. I love you. Peace.